will now be recorded.
Okay, I'd like to call the Site Plan Review Committee to order for Tuesday, August 2nd. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kodowski,
Here.
Gary Paul,
Here.
Chris Atkinson,
Here.
Andy Karowski,
Here.
Dale Quinn,
Here.
and Persick and Pampern are excused.
Please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Please remember all the men and women throughout the world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 5, action on the site plan review minutes for the regular meeting of July 19th, 2022.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 6, review plans for the following locations. 6A, action regarding requested site plan review for garage at 2450 Marina Circle, parcel VA-1405. Aaron.
All right. Let me just bring up my screen here. I'll bring up my screen here. Hey, Haley, for some reason my share button is grayed out. I'm not able to click on it.
How was that? Better? Said you were the presenter.
I'm not able to share my screen for some reason. It's grayed out.
Oh, you could click on it.
There we go. Thank you. All right, back at it. All right, the requested site plan for a garage at 2450 Marina Circle. The site plan for the parking lot was previously approved. This is to facilitate the development of the office building across the street. The request for the parking garage came in after the approval for the parking lot, which is why it's a separate agenda item at today's meeting. In terms of exterior materials, it meets the requirements that it is masonry. It does have 2 overhead garage doors, 2 separated bays. You can see where it's located on the property right here. We do have to add the additional curb and gutter according to our code right here. And in terms of additional conditions of approval, pretty minor. As mentioned, extend the standard 18-inch curb and gutter to include the northwestern driveway apron. Revise the notes to identify only the L-shaped soil pile that is the village's responsibility to remove. On the documents, it does identify some soils that goes back to the amended and restated development agreement the village has with the developer to remove a soil pile. The village's soil pile actually is going to start being removed tomorrow. So that'll be taken care of and is in the works. I just want to make sure that it's clear on the documents which soil pile the village is actually responsible for. A couple additional ones here. Screen any new rooftop or ground-mounted mechanical units visible from the property boundaries or public right-of-way. ADA parking stalls may need to be added by the office building when taking into account the added number of stalls of this lot. And then the catch-all, meet all applicable requirements of the Ashwaubenon site plan review and all other applicable village ordinances. And those were all the recommended conditions of approval. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from anybody?
Aaron, that butts right up to the existing parking lot to the apartment there, it looks like.
Correct. You can see right here, this is Manso Flats parking lot. right here, and this is the new parking lot. A certified survey map is going to be reviewed by Plan Commission tomorrow, creating this parcel.
And I heard you say that that dirt pile is going to be removed, starting to be removed tomorrow.
Correct, the village's pile.
Right, okay. All right, if there's no other questions, I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
With staff conditions.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the site plan review for garage at 2450 Marina Lane, parcel VA-1405 with staff conditions. Any other questions or discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. 6B, action regarding requested site plan review for American Custom Metal Fabrication Building and Parking Lot Addition, 2612 South Broadway, parcel VA-160-1-1-A. Aaron?
All right. American Custom Metal Fabrication, or ACMF, is adding, there's two additions, actually. One is 52,183 square feet. That's this one right here. And there's a small 2,400 square foot addition on the north side right here. In addition to the two additions, the parking lot is going to be added to in the back here, as well as some loading dock areas. A wet stormwater retention pond will be located northwestern corner here. They are working with Steve Burr in terms of the details on that stormwater pond yet, as far as its sizing and overall details. In terms of exterior materials, I'll get to that page here. You can see the elevations. There is the minimum 3-foot masonry wainscot. I believe they're actually talking about a 6 or 8 foot, 8-foot concrete masonry CMU unit wainscot. They are using semi-concealed fasteners for the wall panels, as is permissible under the amendment that was approved a few months ago for additions to industrial buildings on non-street facing elevations within the I-2 zoning district. So this does meet the criteria for allowing semi-concealed fasteners in this instance. Overhead garage doors, you can see here, we added on the west elevation for product receiving. In terms of recommended staff conditions, screen any new or larger replacement rooftop or ground-mounted mechanical units visible from the property boundaries or public right-of-way. The catch-all, meet all applicable requirements of the Ashwaubenon site plan review and all other applicable village ordinances. From stormwater, I mentioned the continuing coordination with engineering on the sizing of that stormwater pond. From forestry, they didn't have a condition, but they do have a recommendation for the owner development team's interest is there's a recommendation to add shade trees along South Broadway. So again, that's recommendation from forestry to the owner. It's at their discretion to follow through on that or not. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So
It's
what-
definitely an improvement on that property with the parking lot being asphalt. I kind of know the property a little bit. Everything else matches up to the ordinances that you said, Aaron, with our building codes. The only question I have, I don't know, if you look at sheet 4, proposed additions, there's a small one on the front there. What is that, a loading dock or what?
Let me just find that one here. Do you mean the small 2,800 square foot addition on the north side of the building?
On that north, yes, that would be the north side, that real small square where it says proposed addition in that little block
Yep, that's a small addition to the receiving area.
to the receiving area. Okay, all right. That's the one you had mentioned. Okay, no problem. Good addition.
my
Nobody
own,
wants to approve, I'll make approve the project with staff conditions.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve with staff conditions. One question I have is what the engineering stormwater had written about the stormwater pond.
Yep.
So is that going to be expanded then at some point, or?
So they're going to go through and just reevaluate the necessary size of the pond to accommodate the stormwater necessary to, or the capacity necessary to treat quantity and quality for this addition.
Okay.
So Steve is working with Aaron from Robert E. Lee on that.
Okay, that's all I had. Okay, so there is a motion and a second to approve with staff conditions. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. 6C, action regarding requested site plan review for Sunbelt Rentals, northeast corner of South Ridge Road and West Main Avenue, parcel VA-L366-3. Aaron?
All right, so this is a proposed new development for Sunbelt Rentals. If you could picture where the Mount Calvary Cemetery is on West Main, this is the vacant lot. Be just to the west of that before you get to South Ridge Road. Typically is a sunflower field in the past years.
It was owned by the guy with the big building at one time, correct?
Correct, yes.
Christopher Knight?
Yep, that's right. So proposed is for Sunbelt Rentals, which is a permitted use, or heavy equipment machinery rental, and sales is a permitted use within the I-2 heavy industry zoning district, which is what this is zoned. All of the dimensional standards of the I-2 zoning district also would be met with the proposed plan. Exterior materials, well, I'll just go through the site plan here. What you see here is the building. There'll be offices up front with bays in the rear for equipment maintenance, cleaning, so on and so forth. Outdoor equipment storage in the fenced area that you see here. The dark area is asphalt. This is some concrete paving areas. And this actually is a gravel pad to the rear. Just please note that within the I-2 heavy industry zoning district, gravel is a permitted surface type in those rear areas as long as it is maintained. So it can't get all rutted up, filled with water, so on and so forth. You do see stormwater management along South Ridge at both of these locations right here. Those are biofilters, so typically they are dry. They will fill with water when wet and then percolate through and drain out. In terms of exterior materials, get to that here. You can see it is a metal wall panel building with concrete or CMU in front. We do require, again, that minimum 3-foot masonry wainscot on new metal panel buildings to, again, to protect the finish from damage in our code. No rooftop mechanicals are depicted, but again, it's important to note that if there are any new rooftop mechanicals that are visible from public right-of-way or property lines, that they do need to be screened, again, according to our code. Due to the change in grade on this property, there will be a retaining wall, cast-in-place concrete retaining wall up against the cemetery property. There's actually about an 18-foot drop in grade from the cemetery to South Ridge Road, so there's some work to do there in terms of landscaping. I mentioned the stormwater management through the biofilters per village engineering. A maintenance agreement will need to be submitted to village engineering for review and approval. In terms of recommended conditions of approval, I mentioned the minimum 3-foot masonry wainscot from finished grade for all exterior metal wall panels. Use of fully concealed fasteners for exterior wall panels. All new off-street parking, asphalt or concrete surfaces, driveways, and internal landscape islands shall have a perimeter concrete curb and gutter. That would not, of course, apply to the gravel area. Screen any new or larger replacement rooftop or ground-mounted mechanical units. The catch-all, meet all applicable requirements of the Ashwaubenon site plan review and all other applicable village ordinances. From engineering, because West Main Avenue is a county highway, Brown County work in the right-of-way, permit and driveway permit will be needed, so you need to contact Brown County Highway before any work is done along West Main or accessing West Main. from stormwater and engineering, recalculate existing runoff using some technical standards for pre-development for the ordinance, and then resubmit the biofilter analysis and submit the maintenance plan, maintenance agreement to Steve. Continuing on, from forestry, approve the landscape plan as presented, good species selection with planting, focusing on the elevations fronting ridge and main. From bike and ped, a recommendation, again, at the owner's discretion to include bike parking for employees compatible with the guidelines of the Association of Bicycling and Pedestrian Professionals. So again, that'd be at the owner's discretion, whether to install that or not, depending upon the demand from his employees. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, Pat Spilecki with Grafe is available online representing the applicant.
Aaron, is this one taking the place of the one in Lawrence?
I guess I don't know that for sure.
Anybody from some point?
I guess, Pat, would you mind answering that question?
Is the question just if the one in Lawrence, is there one in Lawrence going in addition to this? Is that the question? Did I hear it right?
Yes.
That's the one on the off the highway by Folt and all those buildings? Is that one being moved, or are you just building another one here?
I don't have the answer to that question. I'm not aware of them changing or relocating to this location. The developer would have to provide that information. They haven't shared that or any intent to get rid of that site with us. But again, we're focusing on this site. We weren't involved in any decisions on the corporate side. Let's maybe put it that way.
Okay.
I don't know the short answer.
Just curious.
Yep.
Aaron, this drawing, you were talking about this 3-foot wainscot. Am I missing something?
Nope, that's one of the conditions of approval is to add the 3-foot masonry wainscot. Yep.
Well, to further his question, east, west, north, I see paneling running all the way down to the ground.
Right, that was during the review. It was noted that there is no 3-foot masonry wainscot, and that is a condition of approval is to, when it's constructed, they do have to have the 3-foot masonry wainscot.
They have to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, there's a
As long as that's
requirement under our code.
clarified, okay.
That was my question, too. Okay.
For future reference, if it was shown on the diagram, I probably wouldn't include it in the conditions.
Okay, any other questions?
I make a motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Is that with staff conditions?
Yes.
Okay. Motion and a second to approve with staff conditions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
One question, Aaron, on West Mason, they're looking for a curb cut there from the county?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I just happened to see that on the drawing here. And then Spirit Way, no problems with us with that curb cut?
Not from engineering, no.
Okay, 6D, action regarding requested site plan review for the Coachway condos, 2011 Holmgren Way, parcel VA-54-1. Aaron?
All right. Engberg Anderson Architects as applicant for project owner developer Barson Corporation has requested site plan review for proposed 81-unit, 12-story mixed-use condominium building at the northeast corner of Mike McCarthy Way and Holmgren Way. You can see the rendering right here. This would be at the corner of Holmgren and McCarthy. Condo units will include studio, 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units ranging from 650 square feet to just under 2,000 square feet. The property is currently vacant and used for parking for the bar. It is zoned SE, Sports Entertainment, and this type of development with a mixed-use development on the first floor and residential above is a permitted use within the SE Sports Entertainment zoning district. In terms of the height, they have received approval from the FAA for the height, as well as an approved conditional use permit up to 140 feet from the village board. Exterior materials will consist of a mixture of glass wall systems, concealed fastener wall panels, and extruded, I'll say porcelain, okay, porcelain, open jointed rain screen system cladding with lattice accents. And I'll let the experts on that speak to that little in here just in a little bit. There will be 3 levels of indoor parking totaling 164 stalls, so well beyond our typical standards you see for parking. Additional amenities in the condo include a fitness room, common room, theater room, tenant storage, dog spa, and conference room. Visitor bicycle racks will be located outside the ground floor in the Holmgren Way elevation and on the Mike McCarthy Way elevation for the commercial uses. The secure bicycle storage room is located northwestern corner of the basement level, and a rooftop wall will screen the rooftop mechanical units. Since this project is within the Sports Entertainment District, Plan Commission and Village Board approval is required as well. In terms of recommended conditions of approval, work through this a little bit. The address will be 2011 Holmgren Way. Meet all applicable requirements of the Ashwaubenon site plan review and all other applicable village ordinances. From engineering, verify that new sanitary water and storm laterals are being requested and existing laterals are not being utilized. And coordinate with village engineering regarding any road or lane closures requested during construction. Obviously, lane closures during Packer season is always a tough deal, so we just want to make sure that's taken into account during the construction planning and staging. From stormwater, verify location of the stormwater runoff to Mike McCarthy Way. Of course, this does drain towards the Ashland Pond, and the developer can buy into the Ashland Pond at a low price as compared to doing stormwater on site. Public safety had no comment. Forestry, conceptual landscape plan provided. Please submit final landscape plan prior to building permit being issued. And Bike and Ped had no comment. So I guess with that, what I'd like to do is hand it off to the development team, let them walk through some of the details of the materials and some of their design thoughts. Feel free to use this to show it up on screen for anyone who's at home.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tim Willaz with Engberg Anderson Architects.
I'm Mariana Arena.
We also have Mark Seidel joining us virtually. He is our civil engineer, so if there's any questions regarding the civil.
Good afternoon.
Yep. Hi, Mark. Are there plans in here? Yes. Okay. So maybe. Bear with me for one moment. So I think maybe where we'll start is just kind of the siting of the building, just to give you guys some understanding of why we sited the building the way we did. And it's a little hard to see up there, but the building is effectively pulled away from that corner there, and that's to offer kind of a public plaza. The building itself actually skews back at an angle, and that helps us in a couple of ways. That helps us get a longer profile without taking up too much of the block, but it also lends itself to the angles of the sun. So the swimming pool is located directly to the west of the building profile above, which I'll go to that page in a moment. So the sun, or the swimming pool, is going to get really long looks at the sun in the afternoon and sunset times, which will be very favorable for marketing. We thought pulling the building away from the corner would help kind of maintain sight lines for traffic. But what it also helped us do is kind of segregate the parking for this building and commercial use. So we, having worked with you guys in the past, we understand the aspirations and some of the ideas you have about activation of the base. So we really wanted to try and offer up a really pleasant plaza and commercial retail space that was also marketable for the owner. So what this effectively does, it helps us occupy more than 50% of the base and very little exposure of the parking to the street side. So what you're looking at here is on the left-hand side, that larger volume box is the commercial retail. And then just to the southeast of that, that small postage stamp interior space is the residential lobby. The parking is actually accessed from the south side of the site, and when you come in, there's a speed ramp that separates 2 bays of parking. So you can either go up or you can go down. If you have any questions at any point, you guys just stop me. This is kind of our second level. It shows that the lobby is going to be a double height volume. It also shows, it's faint on the screen up there, but the commercial retail volume for about 1/3 of the space on the southwest corner will be double height volume. And on this level, we have some kind of small meeting office space and home theater space. This is the 3rd level, and this is that pool area. On the left-hand side along the street, we kind of provided a exterior kind of armature of structure, and that kind of works twofold. When you see it in the rendering, it offers kind of a scale height component to make the building feel massed along that street, but also offers kind of privacy for the people at the pool. So this level would feature the pool, and then on the east half, it would feature potentially a dog walking track, some mini golf putting, and some outdoor grilling areas. Oh, also notable on here is the yellow areas up against the pool. That is amenity room and kind of home library and work area. And then on the east-hand side of the site, directly accessible to that roof terrace, is the fitness center. So you can imagine like having, I guess, outdoor yoga on that multi-purpose area out there. So I don't know if we want to get into, so I will say this about the plans, they do feature very gracious balconies, wider than usual, and then the building is composed in such a way that the glass wraps the balcony corners, so every unit kind of feels like it's got a glass corner unit. And the huge amenity for a building like this is its sightlines to Lambeau Field, and we really think it's going to capture that sunset over Lambeau Field that should mark it favorably, we think. And on the top floor, on the left-hand side there, that white area is actually a full-length terrace along that whole side. So those are really the premier units there. Materially, the exterior is pretty simple. As we said, it's window wall glass. We have some metal panel shingling. It's all concealed fastener. We do have some accent areas, the areas that are shown with the orange on the facade. Those we think we're going to do a low maintenance or no maintenance kind of wood expression. And then the white area is, and this is the actual product, and I can bring it closer if you guys like. It's a porcelain tile. I think the last time I came in front of the group, I showed a white terracotta panel, and the impetus or the inspiration for that was the Bellin office building, that historic white terracotta building in downtown Green Bay. So we really like that white terracotta look, but one of the things that you run into with modern terracotta is it's a little bit brittle, and it can be shattered fairly easily. This product is a little bit more robust. It has a higher impact rating. It's lighter, and it maybe offers more color options.
What makes up that panel?
It's a white porcelain tile. It's porcelain.
It's a porcelain tile?
Yeah.
Okay, it's nothing to do with concrete?
No,
Nothing of that?
no.
Okay.
Would you guys, you want me to bring it up there?
And that's the thickness of it then?
Yep.
That's just a sample of it?
Thank you.
What do you think, boss?
As long as it holds up the wire, I think it's great.
Oh, Jesus Christ, why didn't you warn me?
That's actually lighter than the terracotta. And the other thing about the terracotta is it absorbs water, so it actually gets even heavier, whereas this one does not.
Have you guys used any of that material in this area?
We have not.
I'm just curious what it'll do for freeze-thaw cycle, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be better because of it's not absorbing the water that terracotta does.
Yep.
Terracotta moves around a lot. This is supposed to be really stable.
What type of warranty do they give you on stuff like that? Do you know?
I think this one is a 20-year warranty, and this product, even though we haven't used it here, it's been used in Europe quite a bit, and it's actually migrating its way to America now.
Got it.
So I think there's examples of this. If you guys need me to drum up from the rep, I can probably get them from like some bigger municipalities or where they have built product in the States.
So is that 20-year warranty, Karen, is that based on how it's been used already, or like what Chris said, with this climate, do you think it could short down the life expectancy?
I don't think so at all. I think it's just it's a boilerplate warranty because I think a product like this is really a 100-year product the way terracotta is. It's a rain screen system, so we're not relying on any sealants or anything like that have to be maintained every 5 years. So it's open joint, equally pressurized, because weather and air are intended to get into that back of the wall and just kind of flow through. So it's a really healthy system that way. And really, the critical warranty is the backup wall and the just maintaining the vapor barrier. This stuff, I think, is going to be fairly stable for a long time.
For 100 years.
What's that?
For 100 years.
I think so. I do, because I look at product, so when I look at it, I look at like the Bell and Office building, and that is white terracotta. And this is very similar to that, except it's more robust, and in that they have proven with testing. So,
What kind of fasteners hold that onto a building?
so basically, you're going to get the backup wall system, which will likely be a cold form metal stud, and then it'll have a substrate, and then we'll have a very robust vapor barrier. Then we're going to get insulation, and this will have its own subgirt system, probably aluminum or stainless steel that is holding up the panels in these grooves right here. So that effectively it slips onto a channel or a tab clip, I'll say, that goes up and down to capture the panel below and the panel above. But it's like, think of it like a substructure of probably stainless steel that runs behind this and in front of the insulation.
Okay.
What's the size of the, installed size?
We think, what were we talking about?
We are talking about 30 inches by 16. That's the size of the tile that we're using.
And we think we can go larger, but we based that kind of on our precedent study. And it's hard to see here unless I can maybe zoom in again. Oh my gosh, it's working. So you can, I don't know if you can see the modularity of the facades there. So it's got the masonry expressed in a smaller module. We didn't want to just do big expanses that were kind of foreign to everything we see around here. We wanted to do something that was elongated and kind of replicated masonry in that way. So everything that's white on this building is intended to be this product. And I think we're showing kind of an off-white with some kind of field variance within this, but we're also thinking of adding a second color that randomly mixes in, so we give it a real kind of field tone to it, and not just a stark white, clean building. Maybe another detail to note along here is these screening elements right here that you see, they're not always really prevalent on the renderings unless you're looking really closely. Those are essentially the same material, but it's actually a sun louver. And the restroom or the bathroom is behind it, so we're trying to create kind of a really, I guess, some depth to the facade as well and some visual interest with some texture.
So is a lot of your material the porcelain too, like I can hear too, the other stuff? Is it all porcelain?
That one, let me see.
Yeah,
It says porcelain on it, I was just
yeah,
curious.
it's similar.
And a different color as well.
Yeah, so, yep, and the square portions, that's a terracotta baguette. That's not what we're actually proposing with this new panel. They would be more like fins or blades that would be orientated like you would typically see with a sun louver.
Call that a rain screen, open joint.
Rain screen is pretty typical these days.
Yep.
I'm assuming that this system is similar to other rain screens where you're air gapping behind it, so all your moisture sheds. By doing that, if you have a building and you're trying to really seal it up, it's usually not visually appealing. So by putting the panels over the top of it, allow you to really seal a building up, really protect it, and still give it a decorative facade to the front of it. It's very common. Rain shield has been behind brick now for a few years. So if you're going to brick something, stone something, you'd want to see that back there. In our climate, unfortunately, water does find its way in. We have heavy freeze thaw. It'll push stuff off, get back there, wreck your building 10 years. It physically is impossible with the rain screen systems. So I would assume, again, I don't know anything about this system, but I would assume that flat lock panel is what you're going to have back there. This is going to slip into it. It'd be pretty bulletproof for a setting on it.
We really want to eliminate all sealant type materials because that's a maintenance thing, and especially at heights like this, it's just not maybe going to happen as often as we would like. So
unfortunately, sealants fail within 5 years, and they start letting water in, and that's the end of it. So,
and they look bad at some point.
and then you would be pushing the metal panels off, and that stuff would be falling. And I'm assuming, again, I'm not familiar with this system, but I'm assuming it's like others that I've looked at. It's probably going to be a pretty good system. I look forward to being able to see some of that stuff up close.
Looks pretty sharp on the picture.
Thank you.
Tim, you've done another beautiful design on a building here in Ashwaubenon. The other ones you designed also were really great, so it looks nice. I do have a few questions, though, but I think they might be more for Philip. So I know that engineering, and Aaron, engineering was concerned about lane closure. So we can't have lane closure. I don't know how long this is going to take to build, but we can't really have lane closure during a Packer game.
Yeah, and that's something that, we'll certainly work through as far as scheduling with Philip and his team, with engineering and our streets crews. I'm sure they're sensitive to that. We also recognize that there are times when their lanes may have to be closed. Try to avoid it during Packer games, but, I certainly, I hope we can avoid Packer games. I guess I'll leave it to Philip with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason to go or to have that, the lanes closed. I think we had, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this was a similar issue in Green Bay when we were looking at a proposal for the 200 block. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that a couple of years ago. The same conversation came up. Obviously, that's a different area of town, not as much traffic. I'd say for what we got going on, I don't, the only thing I can think of, we had WPS to the south and to the west. We had easements over there, so with those easements and the setbacks, I don't see, I don't know, Tim, I don't see why we would need to close the lanes.
Yeah, and if it does happen, we'll certainly work with Philip, his crew, public safety. Again, there may be unloading times, things like that, where it may have to happen, but again, we'll certainly be sensitive to traffic times and obviously times of the year for games.
Yeah, and I do want to add that we are working we're looking at a more creative solution to the construction process with the landowner. So Jess at the bar, he's been really good to work with. So we're looking at being a little bit more flexible in that. And I think moving forward, we'll probably have an announcement that might answer a lot of these questions in regards to construction access and shutting streets down. So
Okay. My next question also was, have you closed on this property yet?
we have not.
You have not. Okay. Do you anticipate when you will?
At this point, I do not know. Like I said, we're working on a modified contract, so we're
Okay.
looking at, yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces in the background, and I can't disclose everything due to the nature of that contract, but yeah, I'll keep you guys updated.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
No questions, I'll make a motion.
Okay, Andy made a motion to approve.
I was just curious, do you know?
Can I have a second before we discuss?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Okay,
I
now,
was just curious, are they going to allow short-term rentals out of these? Is that?
That's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. That has been probably the question of the hour every time somebody asks that.
Sure.
As of right now, we don't.
Okay.
I think the idea behind that is we want to allow people to purchase a condo. We want to be able to transfer the ownership documents to that condo association. And then moving forward, we want to allow them to make that decision. And we can have people vote on that. And it would be fair to them to make that decision versus us as developers saying, you know, you can or you can't do VRBLs or short-term.
So you would leave it up to the owners and
Yep.
put it in the bylaws, they either could or couldn't,
Yep.
depending, but,
Yep.
okay.
So there would be a homeowners association then associated with the building.
Yeah, we'll have a condo.
would be homeowners or condo?
Condo.
Okay, condo
Yeah,
association.
condo, not homeowners, yeah.
Okay, any other comments, questions?
It's a good-looking building.
Yep, like I said, Tim has designed many beautiful buildings here.
Good work.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Coachway Condos, 2011 Holmgren Way, parcel VA-54-1. Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
And again, just to be clear, this will then go to Plan Commission tomorrow evening,
Tomorrow.
and then Village Board at the end of the month.
Yep.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Okay, number 7, department reports. Been busy.
Yes, we have. And thankfully, I was able to get away for a vacation last week, which I greatly appreciated. But in terms of projects, if you take a drive around the village, you certainly can see the Bohemian Park project, which Tim and his crew have been working on here diligently. Other projects, let's see, Mission Barbecue, they just had their grand opening today at noon. Check it out. They are open for business. Other projects, Hyvee, Bellin, Commonplace, they're all making really good progress. Yeah, you go away for a week and you come back to the village, you just drive through and you realize how much has happened just in that week. It's pretty amazing. The Quick Trip on South Point by the airport, so we drove to the airport a week ago and we came back and all of a sudden it's basically a full building right there. So they certainly are a well-oiled machine seeing that happen.
Yeah, they don't mess around when they put up a building.
Aaron, what's the approximate date for Hyvee opening up? I got questions on that once in a while.
I'm going to say early fall.
Early fall?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. What I'm hearing is September, late September, October, somewhere in there. I think their goal is September, though. We do have a temporary occupancy inspection on Friday scheduled with the alarm test, pressure test for their sprinkler system on Thursday. So they're working hard.
Okay, items for next agenda. I'm sure we'll have a,
I have one right now. It's the Halloween Express temporary signage. So,
okay.
Well, if I would have won that big $1 billion, I would have been building a bunch of stuff around here.
yeah.
Just so you know, but it didn't work out, so I can't hire Chris or nobody else.
Well, I had the winning ticket, they just didn't pick the right numbers.
That's right.
That's the problem, yeah. Okay. We will see you in a couple weeks, so everybody have a good couple weeks. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.